එදිනෙදා ඔබේ මුළු සිරුරටම රැකවරණයක්. සුදේශී කොඹ සබන්.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, the wait begins. Election Commission announces issuance of Election Gazette this week. All is good. Central Bank Governor reassures stability of financial systems and warns public not to fall for rumours. Safe haven. Presidential Additional Secretary announces visit of Bora spiritual leader this month.
It shows the confidence the international community is having on the status of controlling of COVID in Sri Lanka.
Leading by example, China shows the way forward by suspending debt repayments from 77 low-income countries. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Monday, the 8th of June 2020.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
Nava Sunlight Sakura. Then Dikukal Pavatina Sakura Mal Suandin.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Mohammed Naika. Let's start with local stories. Now, China has decided to suspend debt repayments for a total of 77 low-income countries as part of a G20 debt relief initiative. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in April called on leaders of the IMF, the World Bank, ADB and leading lending nations to provide debt moratorium or debt reprofiling facilities for vulnerable developing countries like Sri Lanka, preventing effects by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, with the list of countries as yet unreleased, it is unclear if Sri Lanka would be included among low-income countries given its developing nation status.
China has announced the suspension of debt repayments for 77 developing countries and regions as the nation is working with other G20 members to carry out the G20 debt relief initiative for low-income countries. China announced in May that it would provide $2 billion over 2 years to help other countries respond to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. At a media briefing to release the white paper titled Fighting COVID-19, China in Action, China's Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Ma Zhaozhu said that the fund will not only cover medical supplies but also support other countries to restart their economies and development. He added that China is negotiating bilateral aid with recipient countries in need in an equal manner to identify projects to help developing nations improve public health standards, improve livelihoods and resume their economies.
Now, the Gazette notification declaring the date for the general election will be issued within this week. This was confirmed by Chairman of the Election Commission Mahinda Deshapriya today after the Commission met to discuss the matter. Expectations were high before the discussions since it had been announced that the Commission would announce a new date for the polls today. The Gazette notification with the preferential numbers of candidates, however, will be issued tomorrow. Meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa warned heads of state institutions, saying that they should resign if they want to engage in politics during the polls.
The Election Commission met today and it was anticipated that they would announce a decision regarding the date for the general election.
අපේක්ෂකයන්ගේ අංක සහ ඡන්ද මධ්‍යස්ථාන ගැසට් නිවේදනය. අපේක්ෂකයෝ බොහෝ දෙනා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන මනාපංක ගැසට් නිවේදනය හෙට නිකුත් වෙනවා. ගැසට් නිවේදනය අපි සකස් කරපු නිසා අපි හෙට දින උදේ පාන්දරම දිස්ත්‍රික් වල යවනවා ඒ දේශපාලන පක්ෂ වලට අපේක්ෂකයන්ගේ අංක. ඔවුන්ට ඒක ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් හෙට දින පෙරවරුවේ සිට. කමිෂන් සභාව 10, 11, 12 කියන දවස් තුනෙන් එකක ඡන්ද විමසීමේ දිනය සහිත ගැසට් නිවේදනය නිකුත් කරනවා. දින තීරණය කරන්නේ අපේ නිලධාරීන්ට කළ හැකි සහ කළ යුතු වැඩ ප්‍රමාණය උඩ.
රජවල පැවැත්වෙන දිනේ තීරණය කරගන්න මෙච්චර කල්යන්නේ මොකද්ද මෙතන තියෙන කම්බැලි?
COVID-19 කියන සතුරා අපට පේන්නේ නැති එක්කෙනෙක් නිසා. අපි එයාට බයයි. ඒකම අපි විශේෂඥ වෛද්‍ය අනිල් ජාසිංහ මහත්මයාගෙන් ඉල්ලනවා. කමිෂන් සභාව තීරණය කරා මේ දාපු ගයිඩ්ලයින්ස් විශේෂයෙන්ම කැම්පේන් එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් තියෙන ගයිඩ්ලයින්ස් රෙගුලාසි හැටියට ගැසට් පත්‍රය මගින් ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කරන්න කියලා. අපිත් අපේ විධාන වලටත් ඒක ඇතුළත් කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
මනාපංක සම්බන්ධ ගැසට් පත්‍රය නිකුත් කිරීමේදී ගැටලුවක් මතුවෙනවා නේද? ඡන්දේ පැවැත්වෙන දිනේ නොමැතුව මනාපංක
නෑ දිනේ තියෙනවනේ. ඡන්දේ පැවැත්වෙන දිනය අපි තාම ජුනි 20 කියන එක අවලංගු කරලා නෑනේ. ඒක මලකඳ වශයෙන් හරි තියෙනවා. ඒක අවලංගු වෙලා නෑ. එතකොට අපිට ගැසට් එක ගහන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ඊළඟ ගැසට් එකෙන් කරන්නේ ජුනි 20 දිනය තීරණය කරන එකට. ඒක ජුනි 21 වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඊට එහා දිනය.
මහාචාර්ය ඌර්ගේ ප්‍රකාශය සම්බන්ධයෙන් මෙවර පොඩි කතා බහක් යනවා. ඊයේ ඔබතුමාගෙන් අහන්න ලැබුණා මේ පිළිබඳව විමසීමක් කොහොමවත් හරියට කරන්න ඕනේ මොකක්ද කියන්නේ. අද මොකක්ද එහෙම සාකච්ඡාවක් විමසීමක් වගේ දෙයක් සිදු වුණා.
ඔව් ඉතින් මේ මහාචාර්ය ඌර්ගේ ප්‍රකාශය තමයි ඔව් කිසිදු දේශපාලන පක්ෂයක් අගතියට පත්වන ආකාරයේ ප්‍රකාශයක් කරේ නැහැ. මහාචාර්ය ඌල් කියපු දේ මා විශ්වාස කරනවා.
Meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed the heads of all government institutions and their directors to refrain from engaging in any political activities during the forthcoming general election. The head of state says that any head of a state institution, a director, board member or other official who wishes to engage in politics for a certain political party can do so by lawfully resigning from their position. He added that state institutions should in no way be a burden to the people as they are maintained by public money.
Now, Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Piri, states that Election Commission member Professor Ratnajeevan Hool had committed an offence under Section 169C of the Penal Code by attempting to exert undue influence on the election process. He made these remarks addressing a media briefing held at the party headquarters today.
මනාප අංක නිකුත් කිරීම සිදුවිය යුතුයි. නාම යෝජනා බාර ගැනීමෙන් පසු අපේක්ෂකයන්ට අයිතියක් තියෙනවා මනාප අංක දැන ගැනීමට. මේක කිසිසේත් සම්බන්ධ වෙලා නැහැ මැතිවරණයේ දිනය සමග. මැයි 5 වෙනිදා වන විට රාජ්‍ය මුද්‍රණාලයේ අධිපතිනිය සූදානම් කියලා ප්‍රකාශ කළා. එන මාසයකටත් ඉස්සෙල්ලා. ඒක කිරීමට අවශ්‍ය නියෝග මැතිවරණ කොමිෂන් සභාවෙන් ලැබුණේ නැහැ. මම කියනවා ශ්‍රී ලංකා දණ්ඩ නීති සංග්‍රහයේ 169 C වගන්තිය යටතේ සාපරාධී වගකීම මහාචාර්ය හූල්ට ආරෝපණය කිරීමට ශක්තිමත් පදනමක් තිබෙනවා කියලා. දණ්ඩ නීති සංග්‍රහයේ 169 C වගන්තියෙන් සඳහන් වන්නේ ස්වාධීන නිදහස් මැතිවරණයක් පැවැත්වීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් කරන බලපෑම් තුමා කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදුජන පෙරමුණට ඡන්දය දුන්නොත් ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් පසුතැවිලි වීමට සිදු වෙනවා. එම නිසා දැම්මම තීරණය කරන්න ඒ පක්ෂයට ඡන්දය නොදීමට.
Now, Additional Secretary to the President, Admiral Janat Kolambage, said today that the Bora community's request from the Sri Lankan government to grant permission to its spiritual leader to visit the country is a clear indication that the international community is confident of the control Sri Lanka has displayed over the COVID-19 virus. In the meantime, Sri Lanka recorded 49 recoveries today, taking the total to 990.
With 49 recoveries reported today, the country's overall number of recoveries rose to 990. The total number of active cases, however, also rose by 22, taking the total to 856, which includes 21 COVID-19 patients identified yesterday. Among them are 16 returnees from Kuwait in quarantine at the Trincomalee and Minerius centres. The remaining cases comprised of 2 returnees from the UK, 2 returnees from Qatar in quarantine at the Ampara Centre, while the other was a returnee from Bangladesh who was quarantined at the Rantame Centre. In other developments, the overall number of Navy infections rose to 858, with 7 more testing positive today. However, the naval recoveries rose by 34, taking the total figure to 522.
විශේෂයෙන් 5, 6, 7 ඊයේ දිනේ දක්වා වාර්තාගත 1300 ගණනක PCR පරීක්ෂණ සඳහා සෙම පටල ගැනීමක් මෙම නාවික හමුදාවේ ප්‍රධාන ওই වැලිසර කොටසේ සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ නාවික හමුදා බලෑනින් කොටස් වලට කැඩීමෙන් ඕන් අතර ආසාදනයේ වැළැක්වීම තුළ අපි සෑහෙන සාර්ථකත්වයක් ලබා තියෙනවා. නමුත් මේ PCR පරීක්ෂණ කිරීමේදී නැවත කීප දෙනෙක් විවිධ ස්ථානවල ආසාදිතෙන් විදිහට හමු වෙනවා. දැන් උදාහරණයක් හැටියට පෙරේදා දිනේ 4 දෙනෙක් වාර්තා වුණා එක්තරා ගොඩනැගිල්ලක. ඉතින් ඒ ගොඩනැගිල්ල එහෙම 4 දෙනෙක් වාර්තා වුණාම ඒ ආශ්‍රිත සියලු දෙනා එතන ඉඳලා තව දවස් 14ක් මේ නිරෝධායනයට ලක් කළ යුතුයි. මේක තමයි මේ දිග්ගැසීමට හේතුව. සංඛ්‍යා අඩු වුණත් එසේ කරන්නට සිද්ධ වෙනවා ආශ්‍රිතයන් සම්බන්ධයෙන්.
Meanwhile, the Bora community had requested the Prime Minister and the President to invite their spiritual leader, Dr. Sayyidna Mafadal Saifuddin, to the country.
His Holiness Derana Mafadil Saifuddin Sahib, he is expected to arrive in Sri Lanka during this month, probably on the 21st of June, and we are now making arrangements to receive him as a state guest. It shows the confidence the international community is having on the status of health and the situation of controlling of COVID in Sri Lanka. We are now making preparation to welcome the spiritual leader of the Bora community and his entourage of 45 persons to Sri Lanka, probably to Matala airport, and then escort them to their own retreat at Bandaravela. Although they will be taken to the Bandaravela retreat, they would have undergone a PCR test prior departure of the country that they are coming from, and also they will be subjected to 14 days quarantine under the guidance and supervision of our army as well as our health department. And on completion of their quarantine period, they will be subjected to another PCR test to verify and to make sure that none of them have COVID or not.
Meanwhile, Professor of Geology of the Faculty of Applied Sciences at the Sri Jayawardhanapura University, Methika Vitanage, presented a report to the Supreme Court today, stating that there will be negative effects to the environment if the remains of a person who has died of COVID-19 is buried. She made this submission in response to the petition that was filed by 12 persons, including the son of a COVID-19 victim, Hamid Raufuddin, alleging that the cremation violated his fundamental rights. Appearing on behalf of Professor Methika Vitanage, attorney at law Sanjeeva Jayawardena stated that the burial of a COVID-19 victim would result in the spread of the virus to the groundwater and soil. In the meantime, restaurants and eateries have been given the permission to allow persons to dine in only if the guidelines issued by the Health Ministry are adhered to.
We will not allow them to reopen. That's number one. Number two, of course, even after reopening, if they are not going to meet their standards as required, we will be taking legal action surely. But taking them to court of law and fining them is not our main objective. Our main objective is to keep a proper standard of food hygiene within the city of Colombo. Of course, in this scenario, keeping the COVID-19 situation also into account, and we have to keep the social distancing, the physical distancing, all that will be looked into very carefully. And today alone, there are 6 teams which are going from working within their own districts like North Colombo, Colombo Central, Borella, Colombo East and Colombo West, led by the area MOH and PHIs of the area, and they're inspecting each and every restaurant or the eatery that are registered with the tourist board.
Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena conveyed the Sri Lankan government's gratitude to Arab region envoys for their continued support for the welfare of Sri Lankan migrant workers in the region. He also expressed the government's keen interest in furthering economic and trade ties with the Arab world, especially through a government-to-government mechanism.
Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena met with ambassadors of Arab countries based in Colombo today and expressed the government's gratitude to their respective governments for the support and solidarity displayed through steps taken to look after the health and safety of Sri Lankan expatriate workers. He added that the Sri Lankan government aims to repatriate all Sri Lankan nationals in the region in a smooth and systematic manner. The Foreign Minister also expressed Sri Lanka's keen interest in enhancing and strengthening economic and trade ties with the Arab world, especially through a government-to-government mechanism, including the need to increase market accessibility for Sri Lankan tea. The Arab envoys assured the Minister of their country's fullest cooperation, support for continued excellent relations with Sri Lanka, and also in continuing to look after the welfare of Sri Lankans in the Gulf region.
Now, transportation services resumed normalcy today, with people seen adhering to safety protocols before boarding buses that were only permitted seating capacity in transporting office passengers. In addition, the bus priority lane rule was also enforced today.
Government permission was granted to resume normalcy in island-wide public and commercial transportation from today in adherence with safety protocols. With that, public transportation commenced this morning, carrying office workers to their respective workplaces. However, buses were permitted to carry seated passengers only, with police deployed to supervise their adherence to the guidelines. Furthermore, facilities were available at the Fort bus stand for passengers to disinfect themselves before boarding buses. In the meantime, a meeting to discuss issues faced by private bus owners in the deploying of their buses for public transportation worked off this morning under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
කිසිසේත් අපිට ආසන සංඛ්‍යාවට වැඩියෙන් මහජනයාට ගමන් කරන්න අවස්ථාව හිමි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. සියලු ආරක්ෂක විධිවිධාන සහිතව තමයි ඒ කටයුතු සිදු කළ යුතු වෙන්නේ. අපි පිළිබඳව තදින්ම ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා. බස් හිමියන්ට ඇති වෙන ගැටලු පිළිබඳව අපි සාකච්ඡා කළා. වෙනම ඒ අයට අවශ්‍ය නම් සහන ලබා දෙන්න කටයුතු කරනවා. අද සාකච්ඡාවේදී ඒක අපි කිව්වා. අද ඉල්ලීමක් කරා ජනාධිපතිතුමාගෙන් කාර්යාල වෙලාවන් දෙකකට පවත්වන්න කියලා. ඒ අනුව පළවෙනි අදියර විදියට පෞද්ගලික අංශයට 10ට කාර්යාල පටන් ගන්න වැඩපිළිවෙලට අනුමැතිය ලබා දෙන්න ජනාධිපතිතුමා උපදෙස් ලබා දුන්න අවශ්‍ය අංශවලට.
In another development, the railways resumed normal operations today with the lifting of the curfew at 4 a.m. Most railway stations were seen adhering to safety protocols when conducting their operations. With transportation back to normal, the bus priority lane system was once again implemented in the Western Province, with police deployed to enforce the rules. In a separate development, a massive crowd who arrived to obtain services at the Department of Motor Traffic were left inconvenienced due to officials having lost information of applicants who had made prior bookings to obtain services via hotline numbers introduced for this very purpose.
We will see you shortly after this break. Stay tuned.
කොරෝනා වෛරසය පැතිරීම වළක්වන්න සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry investigating the Easter Sunday attacks questioned the Maulavi of the Dehiwala Jumma Masjid that tropical in bomber Jamil Mohammed took refuge in before detonating his device at the guest house. In response to questions based on Quranic verses that urged the Muslim faithful to take the lives of non-believers, the Maulavi stated that it was unacceptable to claim that the Quran calls for the aiding and abetting in the killing of non-believers, since certain texts were only applicable to the past.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the Easter Sunday attacks heard evidence today from the Deputy Maulavi of the Dehiwala Jumma Masjid, Mansoor Mohammad Raflan. The Dehiwala Mosque was where the tropical in-bomber Jamil Mohammed took refuge in momentarily before leaving the premises and detonating his device at a guest house also in Dehiwala. The Maulavi told the Commission that the teachings of the Quran do not encourage the taking of life, and such extremist activities are not acceptable to Islam. He explained that according to the Quran, the taking of a single human life is considered to be equivalent to the taking of all human life. However, President's Counsel Shamil Perera, appearing on behalf of the Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, in his cross-examination of the witness, presented to the Commission excerpts of the Quran that did call for the killing of non-believers. Further, he also pointed out another excerpt in the Quran that calls for Christians and Jews to be sent to hell and termed them as evil beings. In response to this, the witness explained that while both Jews and Christians were formerly followers of Allah, they had broken away from Islam into two separate faiths. He added that as a result of this separation, Christians today worship the Prophet Jesus, while Jews worship the Prophet Moses. In response, the President's Counsel questioned the witness as to the contents of Surah 33/61 of the Quran. The witness responded with the exact translation of the text, which read, "Bereft of God's grace, they shall be seized wherever they may be found, and slain one and all." The President's Counsel then questioned the witness as to whether the text applies to those who leave the Islamic faith. The witness replied that what is permitted is clearly stated in the Quran. The witness then stated that it was unacceptable to say that the Quran calls for the aiding and abetting in the killing of non-believers, since certain texts were only applicable to the past.
Now, former Prime Minister and leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, seems certain that the party will suffer yet another loss if it is to follow the policies adopted during the last presidential election. During a meeting with UNP trade unions, Wickremesinghe insisted that the party must move forward with UNP's own timely policies. Things, however, turned sour at the meeting as some trade union members were left disgruntled as Wickremesinghe made his exit when they were attempting to air their grievances.
A meeting with trade union leaders of the United National Party was walked off under the patronage of party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe at the UNP headquarters this morning. The meeting was also joined by UMP Deputy Leader Ravi Karunanayaka, Party General Secretary Akila Viraj Kariyawasam and Puttalam District Candidate Paritha Range Bandara.
අද අපි මෙතෙන්ට රැස් වෙන්නේ 2020 අපි තරඟ කරන පාර්ලිමේන්තු ඡන්දය ගැන කතා කරලා. මේ ඡන්දේ බලයට තරඟ කරන්නේ පක්ෂ දෙකයි. පොට්ටුවයි අපි. අද රටේ ජනතාව ප්‍රශංසා කරනවා. වගකිය යුතු විපක්ෂයක් හැටියට මේ කොරෝනා තිබුණු අර්බුදයේ වසංගතයේදී ක්‍රියා කරපු හැටි. ඒ දිනන්න නම් අපි ජනාධිපතිවරණේ එකපාරටම ඉගන්නන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂා ඉදිරිපත් උනේ අපේ පක්ෂයේ නියෝජනය කරපු සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මන්ත්‍රීතුමා. අපිත් සහයෝගය දුන්නා. ඒත් මොකද්ද සිදු වුනේ? ඒක අවසන් වුනේ අපිට වඩා ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂට ලක්ෂ 14ක වැඩි ඡන්ද ප්‍රමාණයක් හම්බ වුණා. ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඒක සිදු වෙලා නැහැ. මේක මතක තියාගන්න ඕනේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපිට ඡන්ද දෙන කොටසක් ඒ පැත්තට ගියා. මට එකක් වැටහුණා. 2019 කියේ පරණ පාරේ ගියොත් ආපහු දිනන්නේ නැහැ. අපිත් පරාජයට යනවා. ඒ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය අනුව යන්න බෑ. ආපහු අපි ඇවිල්ලා අපේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය අනුව මේ කාලෙට ඔබින විදියට ඉදිරියට යන්න ඕන කියලා තමයි දැන් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය හදන්නේ.
As the meeting was coming to a close, the mood changed. As UMP union leaders attempted to communicate their issues to the party leader, Wickramasinghe then left. Efforts of former MP Paritha Range Bandara to bring order to the forum proved futile. After the chaos, however, the UMP working committee meeting chaired by party leader Ranil Wickramasinghe was worked off at the party headquarters.
වෘත්තීය සමිති සේවක රැස්වීමේදී නායකතුමාට පොඩ්ඩක් විරෝධය දක්වා වෘත්තීය සමිති නායකයෝ
නායකතුමා මේ ප්‍රශ්න ගැන කතා කරන්නත් හෙට වෙලාවක් දීලා තියෙනවා. නමුත් කණ්ඩායමක් ඒ කට්ටියත් එක් කරගෙන මේ වෙන කාර්යාලයකට කෑගගා ගියා කියලා ඉවර වෙලා දැනගන්න ලැබුණා.
Now, the Court of Appeal today issued an interim order suspending the hearing of the case pertaining to interdicted High Court Judge Gihan Pilapitiya at the Nugegoda Magistrates Court. The judge bench concluded that the case will be heard once a writ application filed by interdicted High Court Judge Pilapitiya seeking an interim injunction order is considered. Now, accordingly, the court issued notice to Nugegoda Magistrate M.M. Mihal, the Acting Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General to respond to the relevant writ application. Subsequently, further hearing of the case was postponed until the 29th of June. Ambalipitiya High Court Judge Gihan Pilapitiya was interdicted on the 22nd of January over the controversial phone conversation he had with UNP MP Ranjan Ramanayaka. Now, Governor of the Central Bank, Professor W.D. Lakshman, urges people not to be misled by malicious speculation which throws the health of the country's banking and financial institutions into doubt. He also expresses confidence that the Sri Lankan economy and financial sector will continue to remain dynamic and resilient. The CBSL governor was responding to what he termed speculation by various groups and individuals that Sri Lanka's financial system and financial institutions are in a weak position and that the general public is at risk of losing their deposits made at those institutions. He said the rumours come at the heels of the licence cancellation of The Finance Company plc by the central bank recently.
Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman says that with the COVID-19 pandemic and its resultant slowdown in both the domestic and global economy having created a challenging environment for both the financial and other sectors, the future performance of the financial sector depends on the survival and growth of domestic businesses. The Central Bank Governor pointed out that even prior to the onset of the outbreak in 2018 and 2019, there was a rise in non-performing loans in both banks and non-bank financial institutions, particularly due to the sluggish growth in private sector credit and overall economic activity. He expressed confidence that the Sri Lankan economy and financial sector will continue to remain dynamic and resilient, with conditions becoming stronger in the period ahead as the economy recovers. He also revealed that the non-performing loans ratio had declined, in addition to the provision coverage ratio also picking up during the first quarter of 2020, with banking sector profits after tax also considerably higher during the same period. In addition, the banking sector remains strong with total capital adequacy ratio above 16%, net stable funding ratio above 130%, liquidity coverage ratio above 175%, and statutory liquid asset ratio above 32%. This, he added, was as much assurance as the public needs on the current strength of the banking system, which accounts for 62% of Sri Lanka's financial sector. Touching on non-banking financial institutions, he added that while speculation had run wild following the cancellation of the license of The Finance Company plc, this move, as well as other regulatory action against a few other companies, were done mainly to protect depositors and ensure financial system stability. He also revealed that through the cancellation of TFC's license, the bank was able to provide full compensation through the Sri Lanka Deposit Insurance and Liquidity Support Scheme for 93% or 135,100 depositors. The remaining 10,072 depositors are set to receive compensation up to 600,000 rupees per deposit. He also urged the general public not to be distracted or misled by baseless comments and malicious speculation, casting doubt on the health of the country's banking and financial institutions. He also urged the general public to take note of the fact that higher interest rates offered on deposits generally mean that the relevant institutions are engaged in more risky ventures. The central bank governor concluded by reiterating that the central bank will use all available tools at its disposal to maintain financial system stability, and warned that it will not hesitate to take legal action against individuals and groups spreading false or misleading information.
Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, shares rose today, snapping a 5-day losing streak helped by gains in industrials, financials and consumer stocks. The benchmark all-share price index closed up 1.27% at 4,841.85, while the S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks advanced 55.77 points to 2,010.34. The daily trading volume was recorded at 65.8 million rupees, while foreign investors were net sellers, offloading about 1.4 billion rupees worth of shares. Now here's a brief report on today's market performance.
Today we saw a significant surge in the market with the SPI increasing by around 61 points. That is compared to the continuous declines we saw during the last 5 trading sessions. We saw the market declining significantly over the last 5 trading sessions, and today was a reversal compared to that. And with that, we saw a lot of local participation coming into play today with a lot of buying interest, especially in blue chips and also in mid-cap counters. So the foreigners were significantly onto the selling side. Basically, we saw a net foreign outflow of around over 800 million rupees, one of the largest outflows that we have seen in the recent few weeks. And we saw outflows coming in all the big blue chip counters, Sampath, HNB, Hemas, to name a few, and even John Keel's Holdings. However, the surge in the market was weighed heavily on John Keel's Holdings and Ceylon Tobacco today.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.